Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist, the weekly video where we relax on the sofa and talk about games we like. With Call of Duty Black Ops 4 hitting PS4 on October the 12th and everyone at Access preparing for our traditional online drubbing, we got thinking about multiplayer modes we became obsessed with and, in some cases, were actually good at. I'll start with a game at which I definitely own all of you, and I say that with the confidence of a man who knows the servers have long since closed and that he'll never have to put his money where his mouth is.
So a mode that I became obsessed with was the very first online multiplayer I ever played, and that was in Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, which was a re-release of the original Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, but it came with multiplayer as well. It also came with like a new camera, if I remember rightly. Like it used to be just top-down only in that game, and this came with like a new 3D camera that you can move all around Snake, and it was really cool. But anyway, I had a PS2 at this time. I was at university, and I didn't know how to make it go online. Like I knew there was an online component to Metal Gear, but being like the tech idiot that I was, I assumed that my PS2 didn't have online capability. And it wasn't until my friend Jonna was just like hanging out in my room. He's a computer science student. Right. And he was like, and he was like looking at the box, like, why don't you play the multiplayer mode? It's like, I would, but my PS2 doesn't go online. And he's like, yeah, well. So it doesn't though, look, so I tried going online and it wouldn't go online. And he just took the Ethernet cable out of my laptop and stuck it in the back of my PS2. He's like, try it now. It was back in the days when I just didn't understand.
You thought the internet would just fly into your PS2?
Yeah, well, I knew we had Wi-Fi in the house, so I assumed it would just automatically pick up the Wi-Fi. I didn't know how to set it up. But anyway, and I was just like blown away by the fact that I could play with other people from around the world, like instantly. Like this was mind-blowing to me. Like I don't know if you guys can remember the first time you ever played online multiplayer with someone. Yeah. And just how incredible that was, that you could play with just anyone.
Kids
and have
today, Rob, they don't know they're born.
I know, and it was just like the most amazing new thing in Metal Gear, and to this day I think it's definitely the most fun I've ever had with multiplayer. Metal Gear Online was like 4-on-4, really third person as well, like fun, tactical. The maps were great and they were really well designed to allow you to play in a Metal Gear way. It wasn't just running around shooting. It was, you could sneak a lot, you could hide in cardboard boxes. There were loads of little secret little bits of the map that you could find that once you got good at it, you would just know. I mean, I'm sure you've had it, Nathan, in games that you know very well that you play online. Yes. That you can just, by the sound of someone's footsteps, you know where they are on the map, you know where they're going to come out, you just know everything so well.
If someone who was slightly less good at me at the game was in that bit of the level, what would they do?
Yeah.
And then you hope they do that.
Yeah, exactly. And
you idiot.
You just know the place, you know the times to be in certain places, you know if it's, I can't even remember the modes that are in it now, so just say normal team deathmatch. I would know, okay, our team's been put on this side of the match, I know exactly how they're gonna form, how they're gonna spread out on that team. I'm gonna go to this place, and I know if I go there, I'm gonna be able to see the guy who's sniping on the roof, because there's always a guy who's sniping on the roof in this map, and I just like, a little pop out.
Did you make any like online friends?
I did. A few online friends, yeah.
Man.
Again, I can't remember their names now, but it was one originally who hated me, and I was always against him. We were sort of similar ability, and you know, he'd kill me, and it was my first experience with teabagging as well. So brilliant. He'd kill me, it's just a little ritual we had. He was just like, and then I'd kill him, and it was like a little teabag. Or it was a salute, that was even more annoying, because you just stand over their body, little salute, and then off you go. And then as the weeks went past, we sort of developed this like begrudging respect for each other. And then we found ourselves on the same team one time, and it was just great. We just destroyed everyone, and we sort of developed a little bond. but then we couldn't really coordinate because I can't remember, like, there's no real ability on a PS2 to
It's much harder to get headsets.
communicate with people online. I don't think you could friend people on PS2, could you?
I can't even
I
remember.
don't think you could.
I never know.
There was no real, and to send messages in the game as well, there were no like hotkey emotes like there are now.
Yeah,
you had this keyboard, and I didn't have a keyboard peripheral. I was there with my DualShock, just like so I'd be just there hiding in a little portion of the map. And the actual gameplay, I'm barely recalling at all, other than the fact that I loved it. But it was just that that feeling of excitement. It felt like that was my home for a good month or so.
So when I heard what this week's topic was, an idea came to my head straight away. And then I thought, I can't talk about that, that's too obvious and easy. But I couldn't think of anything else, so I'm going to stick with it and just run with it. And it's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yes.
And like you, Rob, this is my first real foray into the world of multiplayer.
This was my second. After Metal Gear 3, I did this.
And so it was on PS3, and I didn't have online on PS2. So PS3, I was online for COD 4, and it really grabbed me. And there's multiple reasons for this. The first one was kill streaks. And kill streaks are really basic in COD 4, but it was the first time I'd experienced them.
I can remember them now. I know exactly what they are.
3 kills was UAV. 5 was a bombing run, and 7 was a helicopter.
Yeah.
I very rarely got 7. But 3 I got quite a lot. And 3 was useful because it just showed you where the enemies were. And 5 was really satisfying. I mean, it only worked like 10% of the time because people would just hide, because you got a warning when it was coming, right?
Yeah.
So your people just hide in buildings.
Yeah.
So the kill streaks were really satisfying because if you had 2, you would just be a bit more cautious. From 4, you'd be really cautious. If you had 6, you just wait.
Just freeze.
Just wait for someone else to just walk in front of your gun.
And die.
The other thing that would keep me playing was the perk system, which again was brand new, for me at least. So every time you finished a game, you got a chance to choose your loadout again, which obviously was guns. There was also a few perks which would change how your character played, a few add-ons, things like bullet damage or a few extras like extra weapons and things like that. And there was one I remember that I always had, which really annoyed people, which was martyrdom.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Which, whenever you died, you would drop a little present for someone to run over your body, and it was just a live grenade.
It's so crazy.
So in the smaller maps especially, what would tend to happen, people would chase you, shoot you in the back, and then run over your body, just because it was quite a quick, fast-paced game. And as they ran over you, it would just explode.
It's so cheap.
And then as you're watching the kill cam, you just get a little bit of experience. And they would just die, and you'd feel really happy about it.
I'm one of those people that must have run over, 50 different martyrdom grenades in my time. I used to make me so angry now.
It was so satisfying.
I was on the other end of that.
And the other one that I always used to use, which was a bit less satisfying, was Last Stand. So again, if you got shot in the back, and then they would think you were dead, and they turn away, you're laying on your back, and you just slowly rotate with a pistol, and just hit it twice, and they just be dead.
I remember just that, I had that a couple of times, like, okay, I killed him, then just, where am I getting shot? And then too late, you'll turn around and just see this, just...
But I think the thing most of all about it is that at the end of every game, just you got the XP screen come up, and the bar, and that slow trickle of XP that you got from the previous game. And I wasn't really good at it, I don't think. You know what I mean? I got a few kills. My KD was probably, I don't know, 1, whatever it was. You know, I killed about the same amount as I died.
Yeah.
But regardless, you get that small trickle of XP towards the next rank, and your badge would change, your emblem or whatever. And it would be just enough to make you want to play one more game.
Yeah, definitely. It was the first game which did that.
And on the main menu screen, it would tell you how many hours or days you played. And mine was up to like 25 days or something, total playtime by the end.
Yeah.
Did you prestige then?
I got there, but I didn't want to prestige because it just reset everything, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I upgraded all my guns, unlocked all the perks and everything. I didn't have the guts to do it, man.
I love that.
It would just have been a fresh restart. I didn't want to do that again.
I love that people, like, it's a badge of honour, and you're just stood at the top of the hill with all your guns firing into the air.
I don't know if I might have told you this before, and apologies if I have said this on this feature before. In my first ever game of COD 4, and this is my first time ever using a headset, I was supposed to be playing online with some friends from school. we talked about it all day at school, and I went home, put on my headset, went on to play, and I got on a bit earlier than them, so I just went into a game just to thought, I'm going to get on before them, learn the ropes, and I'll be better at them. And I went to this game, I didn't know anyone, and unknowingly, I'd got into this game where I'd sort of joined this elite team. I guess it's the early days of esports or a clan or something, and they were playing really seriously. I just spawned in front of these 3 other guys, and they were like, "Get behind the car, smoke, and crouch. Okay, go." And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just staring at these 3 guys that were flashing and smoking this building really professionally. And one of them threw the smoke, then 2 of them flanked around the car into the building. And I was trying to work out how to change my weapons.
I love how you perfectly captured the sort of, I'm really serious about this, but I don't want to speak loudly in case my mum hears the sound of a really serious.
These guys are playing so seriously.
What I love as well is that maybe you thought that's just what online gaming was like.
Exactly.
I guess this is it.
I was really in the deep end, man. And then, the next 3 games I was just teabagging people and dropping grenades everywhere. So it wasn't like that at all.
Tell you a game mode I was obsessed with. Yes. Rocket League, that's the game. Very specifically, doubles. Rocket League's amazing, isn't it? I can't remember whether Rocket League came out and then became available on PlayStation Plus as one of the free monthly games, or whether that was the same thing. It was released and immediately. Either way, it didn't come into my sphere of knowledge until it was on PlayStation Plus. What an amazing time that was to be alive. Suddenly everybody had Rocket League, and it was a game that deserved everybody to have it, and it was just brilliant because everybody was playing it, and we all found it at the same time, and we were like, oh my god, this is really fun. It's just like cars playing football, but somehow it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Apart from Nathan, who didn't like it.
I never understood it.
I mean, I just described it.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You understand it, it's just you've not played it enough to get good at it, and that annoys you.
Nathan doesn't like anything that he's not good at.
Immediately.
That's true.
It has to be immediately good.
Yeah. All right, immediately good at. If at first you don't succeed, I hate it. I'm never playing it again.
Games,
yeah, exactly. Loads more games.
You must hate loads of stuff, Nate.
Woo! Rubbish and stuff. It's very specifically doubles though, and I think there's a few reasons for this. First of all, I guess is its main mode 4v4? I think it is. I think that's the kind of the standard. Or is it 3v3? That's just slightly too busy. I think it's good if we were a team, then that would have been good, because at that time we were in a very small office, just the 3 of us. Dan hadn't yet joined us, and Holly was working in London, so the 3 of us were in the office. But Nate didn't like it, so he had to play 2-on-2, which is one of the
PES stuff.
One of the reasons
I didn't want to play.
One of the reasons I liked it was that Rob and I played it, but also I think 3v3. If you played online by yourself, you're inviting 2 strangers onto your team there. That's 2 kind of unknowns, which can go wrong. If you play solo online, which I did also do, I find it very stressful, because the way that Rocket League seemed to work was there were people who were very bad, there was me, and then there were people that were very good. Although it's really funny because I remember, as I said, we all seemed to get it at the same time. So at the beginning, most people were just quite average or a bit bad. And I remember distinctly, it was on the 2nd episode of Access Granted, Nathan. I don't even remember if you remember this. I don't know if you remember this. I talked about, I had been playing online doubles, which is my favourite. And my partner was amazing at Rocket League. And it blew me away. And I was just driving around doing normal stuff, and he was flying through the air, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And we showed some gameplay of it on Access Granted.
Right.
That guy's name was Diablo 2000X, and I've just gone back and watched the clip, and it's just so not that great. It's just doing pretty standard. Now it's just so standard. I've seen the things people do in Rocket League.
Yeah, but imagine what he's doing now.
Well, good point. This was early days. He scored a goal in the air. That blew me away. I was like, he knew he was in the air on purpose, and he kicked the ball into the goal on purpose in the air. It was amazing. So yeah, times have changed. But that's why I really love doubles, because solo I found it a bit stressful, because people would either kick my ass or I would kick theirs. And I never knew which way it was going to go, and it was just quite stressful.
And also I have terrible internet at home, so it would be laggy and I'd be furious. And there was no one to help me, you know. I've just, the number of times when you'd just be like driving towards the goal with the ball and then suddenly it would like jump and they had scored a goal somehow. With doubles you had that potential, because I was okay at it. Definitely okay is as good as we could say. If I had somebody bad, I liked carrying them. That felt good if it was going well. And if we were getting destroyed, I could just blame them in my own head. I was like, oh, well, that guy's rubbish. No wonder we're getting beaten. And then occasionally someone amazing would come along and they would carry me. And I really loved that as well, because they'd be doing amazing stuff. And I'd just be like, I'll just stand by the goal. I'll just stay by the goal. I'll make sure no ball, no, they don't score anything. You go. And I really love that, and I think that's perfect. Any more players than that, you start getting into unknown, and it's just like, because again, it was the beginning of when Rocket League came out. Everyone's just like following the ball into a corner and just knocking into each other, and the ball's just going up, and then occasionally it sort of lamely rolls into the goal. So
we had some good doubles times.
We had some really good doubles times. I think it's brilliant, and now it's a massive esport that people love, and people have got actual careers out of it. I didn't become that obsessed with it. Maybe I could have. I've missed out on a whole other career path. But maybe Diablo 2000 has. I remember actually that on Access Granted a week or two later somebody got in touch to say that they'd played with Diablo 2000X, and he was great, but they had written in the chat, Dave mentioned you or something, or like Dave from Access mentioned you, and he was just like, what? Who's Dave? What's Access? It's funny to me that he's out there having no idea that now I've mentioned him twice, or her, and they have no idea.
A mode that I got obsessed with, it is multiplayer, kinda, but it's not online. And this one is interesting to me because it's also like one of them games where it's not necessarily like one you'd expect to get obsessed with, I think it's fair to say. And the game I'm talking about is Urban Trial Freestyle. Ooh. Which it dates back to...
remember.
Yes, you should. It dates back to a time when Trials was not available on PlayStation. Yeah. The Ubisoft Trials that we have all come to know and love. And this game came out, which has got a very similar proposition. It's got Trials in the name. Yeah. And we were making Access as a weekly show at that point. It's quite a long time ago. And if you're making a weekly show, sometimes you just, whatever game there is the game you're putting on that week, because you need something to feed the beast. And what we were feeding the beast with that week was Urban Trial Freestyle. And we expected it, it was like a version of a big game, but there wasn't a big game. So we were not expecting huge things from it, but huge things emerged nonetheless.
Oh yes.
And so it didn't have like a side-by-side kind of racing mode. It was, when I say it was a lot like Trials, it's been on PlayStation Plus since then, so people out there might understand what I'm talking about. You're on a motorbike, you go from one side of the level to the other, and you balance on your back wheel a lot. You can do flips, but it had like a ghost system, so like I believe Trials does as well. So you'd set a time and then you'd be racing against the ghost. And what it became was just past the pad in the office. We were capturing this game because we were putting it on and we were like doing a video about it. And then it was like you'd move from, I need to capture a bit of this level and move along, to like, I realised that if at this point, if I made my jump 3 foot lower, and at this point I revved 50% less, I think I could take half a second off this, and so you would end up just on a level for ages and ages. And then when it really becomes obsessive is when someone else is like, it's one of them games where you can't watch it without going, I could definitely do that better than whoever's playing it. Yeah. And in this instance, I specifically, it was everyone on the Access team at the time, but Dave and I, for some reason, because it's Dave and I,
friendly rivalry,
got locked into this kind of, like just obsessive one-upmanship. And it was, at the beginning it's like, oh, I'll have a go. Oh, you've beaten me. And then, the next go you get beaten. And then by the end it's like, it takes 15 goes to beat somebody. And then when you hand it back, you're like, and screw you forever.
With that one.
Exactly.
Like taking a really hard block out of a Jenga tower. It's never coming back to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like a ninja Jenga move. And the thing that really sealed it for me was because it was on PlayStation Vita as well. Me and Dave had one trip to London, where the stakes had been raised. It was the same levels. It played a little bit differently on Vita, but it was the same level, so we knew the tracks really well. And I believe that on this trip to London, it's like an hour and a half from Bath to London, and I think we beat the time only twice, which had showed how little there was. I mean, not that we're brilliant at games, but we definitely reached our cap here. And I remember handing you, I can't remember if you, I think maybe you beat the time first.
I feel like, well, actually, I remember that I won. I'm sure you remember that you won.
Maybe it was on the way back, but I just remember that moment of when you physically hand someone the game on a Vita. It's like, there you go.
Yeah.
This is for you now.
We were both crowded around it. It wasn't like I would hand you the Vita and then I'd look at my phone until you said, I've done it.
Yeah.
I had to just watch you
also,
playing everything.
You want to see where people are finding those couple of, those tenths of a second.
Well, this is one thing I was going to say. It's one thing it had over Trials at that time was that the Ghost, you got a whole motorbike Ghost. Trials didn't have that. You had like a name. But on an Urban Trial Freestyle, you could actually see exactly what they'd done.
Yeah.
Which was useful.
Angle, height, revs,
all that stuff.
Speed.
Everything.
You're forgetting to mention like the quick restart.
I mean, that was I didn't want
the secret sauce.
Because I'm off camera, I didn't want to, bang on about it, but
it's true though,
about
isn't
the
it?
instant restart.
Well, it's triangle. I think, or maybe it's R1, but like it's I think it's triangle, and it's just that thing where no loading at all, and it just means that as soon as anything goes wrong, because it's like I've got to beat Dave's time, and I'm like, yeah, well, we've done this bit right, and then as soon as you've gone wrong, and it lowers the bar so much when you're trying to get like a perfect run. It's like I go over a log slightly at the wrong angle. It's like triangle, like I'm going to restart every time, and you get the countdown wrong at the beginning, just triangle straight away. You're really near the end, and you're not going to just triangle. It doesn't matter. Like as soon as you're somewhere, and the Ghost is too far ahead, and the fact that there's completely zero loading. Just I don't know what it does to my brain, but it just makes me play games forever.
It's the worst thing ever. The flip side of that is if, like at the start, for instance, you continually get something wrong. Yeah. You were used to just pressing triangle, but then that one time you get it right and you press triangle anyway. The worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I miss Urban Trial Freestyle. We should get it out.
I'm genuinely thinking maybe we should have a little go.
Yes, lunch, just a bit of fun.
What could go wrong?
And a whole week with no videos on it.
What was it called? Subsistence?
Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. That was like the name.
Is that a real word?
It is, Dan, yeah.
What does it mean?
It means
to survive.
Below assistance. That's what it means.
So yeah, join us in, let's say 3 weeks just to be safe, for another Tuesday checklist. Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments what multiplayer modes had you up until silly o'clock in the morning, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all our videos.
For the players.